Over here! This way, minion!
Hi guys, I'm very happy here to show an online mock that I found on Bricklink's gallery. I quickly hit some buttons and then ordered all the parts. This is the Claptrap robot from the Borderlands video game series. This little character is usually kind of a comic relief character in the video game and adds a little bit of spunk to it. The mock was submitted on Bricklink by Axsys, who gives credit to Sam Beattie for some of his inspiration and source photos. Sam Beattie is a Flickr user, so we'll give credit to both of those guys. I did not design this. All I'm going to do is give an overview of it. We won't call it a review because it's not a production product, but it is enjoyable to take a peek at what other people have created, and it is quite nice to see something before you maybe decide to download the parts, before you decide to order all the parts and buy and build your own. But I'll give you a good sense here. I'd say that this is a recommended build, but let's just jump into some of its design features. So this robot is mostly for display. He does have not really necessarily play features because it is rather unstable. You can see Claptrap is a single wheel design robot and uses robotic technology to stay balanced. But in the LEGO world, having one rolling wheel and a bunch of top weight doesn't exactly work. So what these people have decided to do, the submitters, is use some clear beams basically to anchor it to this little platform that they've built. Platform's kind of nice, gives a little desert scape. This connection is basically on the desert scape. You've got a small little area where you would think the wheel was going to sit. It does not, at least the wheel that I have. And there's a little hook. So the wheel kind of rests on this little area, and then the hook essentially reaches over and grabs that little beam from the... So that's all it takes. I actually, when I was building it, I was like, oh, this is going to fall over, or that's going to be a disaster. Nope, it worked pretty good. I might consider widening this so that I can get my wheel to rest in that little hole, but as of now, it works fairly well, and we'll leave that to the side now. I'm going to detach his little support beams, put that over there. Here's the Claptrap. So Claptrap has these two long, gangly arms, and this design incorporates every type of little old hinge that has come out from LEGO. They've got the little knuckle hinges from the days of yore, and then you got the rod. Well, they got some tubes. Go to some Technic pins. They're using a little water faucet or a tap as a hinge, as an elbow. And that works pretty good actually. It can pop out pretty easy if you pull on. I mean, so it's not like it's really held in there very well. But then some rods. Depending on what color you get on the internet, these rods can be expensive or very cheap. And then we go back to the old little gripper claw. I wish LEGO would bring something like this back. These gripper claws are great, and it's got a very smooth little friction hinge here, so you can get a nice grip and a nice angle. So this thing poses very well, but I'll tell you there's a caveat. It wouldn't pose well on its own. I did have to do a slight LEGO modification. So if the arm is up, I've got it so that everything kind of will... it's kind of nice. It's got a nice little forward-reaching attack, sort of. Okay, well, we've done that in the beginning of our little stop motion. What I've done here to modify this is put a small piece of tin foil around this pin. If I take that off and then stick it back in, I'll give you a demonstration of what it does without it. So it'll be fine as long as things are weighted fairly evenly. But if you were to try to do a nice high arm, it will have a high tendency, unless you have it just balanced right on top, it will just arc over and not hold itself. So in order to do the stop motion in the beginning, I definitely had to add the tin foil. I'm not going to add it back for the sake of the rest of this video. So you got the little flaps, those are nice. Serendipitously, I feel, but really clever in the sense that they fold in nice and flat. I never would have known what those flaps were meant for, almost, and now having built it in LEGO makes me think, oh, that probably is meant to cover that little spot where the arm would be. So those are nice. Claptrap's eye, we'll get a little, let's get a little bit more light. Claptrap's eye can rotate or kind of pivot. It's on a ball joint. Like I said, this thing uses every type of hinge and joint you could possibly find. So on that ball joint, and then behind it you'll see the little red, dark red circular tiles. Give it a nice attractive look. It's got a little hingy flap eyebrow, so that works out well. Now let's jump over to the body. This entire body is on hinges, and that's how it gets that shape. So if you're expecting to be able to grab this thing and feel a very strong, sturdy little build, you're not going to feel it because these things can wiggle, and they just give you that sense that if you squeeze it, indeed, if you squeeze it a little bit, it's just going to fall apart. But that's why I was saying, for the most part, this is kind of a looky type of display, not exactly a play. Not a lot of play features here. Let's pop this off. I didn't mean to break it like that, but I have modified the design just slightly because what I wanted was for the wheel to be able to spin, and in order to anchor it, where I had the lift arms that don't have any axle holes, I made one lift arm short and one lift arm long. And they go through, this one has two positions, and that's what's allowing it to not make it so the lift arms themselves don't just sloop over. The design submitted has the lift arms with two axle holes, and that way, and that prevents the lift arms from moving, but it also prevents the wheel from spinning. So it stops here. Mine I extended up to there, did a little bit of massaging of the design just so I could get my wheel to spin. So, with the little adjustable body parts here and everything being kind of just a ridiculously off-axis, tilted diagonal design, it's I could see it being a very difficult model to design. So I really give these folks, Axsys and Sam Beattie, a bunch of credit for such an interesting design. The difficulty of undertaking a Lego design with this many angles is pretty high. So so they get a nice round of applause. You only have one hand. A nice round of applause from me. Well, there you have it. This is a lovely design from Axsys and Sam Beattie. I really appreciate the Lego community uploading these designs. I know that if you see a good design, better download it quick on Bricklink, because oftentimes Bricklink will immediately go in and give those people a copyright infringement and lock it down. They'll allow the post to be there, but then they'll strip it of its downloadable design, so no one would also be able to download the design, or even and I think it's also maybe not even get the parts list. Anyway, you guys, I hope you guys enjoy this little design. If you guys do, certainly follow the link over to Axsys' submission. I'll have that in the description. And you guys, if you know of any other online mocks that you think would be great for me to review, or something that you've submitted, send me a link, and we can see what I can put together. You guys have a great time, and take care. Bye-bye.